Hey family. Welcome back to the sacred space, the place where truth meets spirit, and the chosen awaken. If you're here, it's not by coincidence. You didn't click this video by chance, you were summoned. Because heaven has been trying to remind you who you are. You've always felt it, that deep knowing, that inner pull, that invisible weight of purpose sitting in your chest. The feeling that your voice, your energy, your very presence on this planet carries meaning beyond comprehension. Chosen one, you are not just a human walking through life, you are heaven's voice in human form. You are the frequency of divine truth wrapped in flesh. You are God's echo moving through time and space. When you speak, it's not just air vibrating, it's heaven translating. And in this message, we're going to go deep. We're going to uncover what it truly means to carry the voice of heaven within you, and how to use that voice to awaken yourself and the world around you. Because make no mistake, you weren't sent here to blend in. You were sent here to speak creation back into alignment. Chosen one, the world taught you to think of your voice as just words, but heaven sees it as energy. Before creation began, before there was light, before there was time, there was sound. Let there be. That was the first manifestation of divine vibration. Every time you speak from a pure heart, your words carry that same creative force. That's why your voice has always carried weight. That's why people either feel healed or uncomfortable in your presence. Because your frequency doesn't just communicate, it transmits. You were born with a voice that penetrates the spirit. When you speak encouragement, it cuts through darkness. When you speak truth, it dismantles deception. When you speak love, it melts fear. Even in silence, your energy speaks. You can walk into a room and shift the entire atmosphere without saying a word. Why? Because your frequency doesn't wait for language, it's already vibrating at heaven's tone. And that's why the enemy tried to silence you so early in life. Because your voice, spoken or silent, is a weapon of light. Let's be real, there were seasons you couldn't even find the strength to speak. Times you felt like no one would understand you. Times you held your truth back to avoid judgment or conflict. That wasn't weakness, that was warfare. Because the enemy knows something you're only now remembering. If you ever spoke from your true identity, chains would break. Heaven's voice in you carries authority. And authority terrifies darkness. That's why you faced rejection when you spoke truth. That's why people misunderstood you when you shared your vision. That's why your voice trembled when you tried to express your soul, because every time you opened your mouth, spiritual realms shifted. Chosen one, your voice has always been a portal. When you sing, pray, write, or even comfort someone, you're not just communicating. You're transmitting divine frequency. The reason you've been through such deep silences, those lonely, quiet seasons, is because heaven was refining your tone. You weren't being muted, you were being tuned. Silence is sacred. There were times you thought heaven was ignoring you. Times you prayed and heard nothing. Times you cried and felt unseen. But chosen one, that silence wasn't absence, it was alignment. In silence, heaven was teaching you to hear. Not with your physical ears, but with your spirit. Because before you could become heaven's voice, you first had to learn heaven's language, the language of stillness. It's in that quiet space you learn discernment. You learn the difference between impulse and instruction, between noise and knowing. You learn that peace speaks louder than pressure. Every period of silence was actually heaven sharpening your frequency, clearing static, rewiring your spiritual radio. Now you don't just speak, you channel clarity. When you speak now, it carries the resonance of someone who's heard directly from the throne. So don't despise the silent years. They were your spiritual vocal training. You were being prepared to speak not just words, but truth that vibrates through generations. Chosen one, there will never be another voice like yours. Not just your accent or tone, but your soul's sound. Every chosen one carries a unique spiritual frequency, a sound heaven encoded into your being before birth. That's why you never fit in. You weren't made to echo, you were made to originate. Your sound heals those it's meant to reach. And that's why imitation kills your power. If you try to sound like the world, your divine frequency gets distorted. If you copy others, your message loses resonance. You have to stay authentic, even if your authenticity costs you popularity. Because heaven doesn't need another echo, it needs your exact vibration. You don't realize this yet, but your very laughter breaks depression. Your very presence brings peace. Your words, when aligned with your soul, become living water. The more you walk in truth, the more heaven amplifies your sound. You'll begin to notice your influence expanding, not because you're trying, but because heaven is projecting your frequency into hearts that need it. You are not speaking to minds, you're awakening souls. Let's go deeper. The reason heaven calls you a voice is because every reality begins with sound. Words are not just communication, they're commands to creation. When you say, "I am healed," your body hears and aligns. When you say, "I am chosen," the atmosphere rearranges around that truth. When you declare, "Doors are opening," heaven assigns angels to carry out that order. This is why spiritual discipline matters. Every word you speak either builds your destiny or binds it. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. You can't speak lack and expect abundance. You can't speak fear and expect faith. Chosen one, it's time to speak as heaven would speak. To use your words not to describe what you see, but to create what you desire. Heaven's power flows through declaration, not description. When you declare healing, light, peace, prosperity, you're giving heaven permission to move through you. Because you're not praying to God as much as you're praying with God. You're co-creating reality with the divine. That's what it means to be heaven's voice. You decree, and heaven performs. Have you noticed that your confidence makes some people uncomfortable? That when you speak truth, it exposes things in others? It's not personal, it's spiritual. Your voice is light, and light always reveals what darkness tries to hide. That's why some people withdraw when you speak truth. They feel convicted, not because you're judging them, but because your frequency uncovers what's false. Don't lower your tone to make others comfortable. You are not here to blend in, you're here to awaken. And awakening is disruptive. When heaven's voice speaks through you, it shakes everything that's not in divine order. So don't take rejection as offense, take it as confirmation. The same way thunder announces rain, your words announce transformation. You carry a vibration that can't be silenced. Even when people resist, your words plant seeds in their spirit, seeds that will bloom when heaven says it's time. So keep speaking. Keep sharing light. Keep being that voice, even if it echoes alone. Because heaven hears. And soon, so will the world. Chosen one, what you say today creates your tomorrow. Every declaration you make is a prophecy in motion. When you say, "I am aligned with divine timing," you shift yourself into alignment. When you say, "Everything meant for me finds me," you magnetize destiny. When you say, "Peace is my portion," heaven assigns angels of peace to walk beside you. You've been given a prophetic voice, and heaven expects you to use it intentionally. Stop saying you're tired, broke, or unlucky. Start saying you're expanding, abundant, and guided. Because heaven responds to your declaration faster than you think. Your words are the steering wheel of your spiritual journey. You are heaven's voice. Speak as heaven would. Speak with authority. Speak with conviction. Speak with compassion. And watch your environment mirror your confession. You don't have to shout to carry power. You just have to speak from alignment. Before you open your mouth, pause. Breathe. Connect to your center, that quiet space in your chest where God lives. Then speak from there. When you speak from peace, your words carry divine weight. When you speak from love, your words become miracles. When you speak from faith, your words rewrite reality. Every morning, before the world fills you with noise, declare your truth. I am heaven's messenger. My words create light. Everything I speak manifests in divine timing. I am not just human, I am heaven in motion. These affirmations aren't just positive thoughts, they're energetic activations. They tune your frequency to heaven's tone. And once you're tuned in, you'll begin to speak things into existence naturally. You'll speak life into others without effort. You'll speak healing into chaos without planning. You'll speak truth in moments you didn't even prepare for, because heaven will start speaking through you in real time. The world is drowning in noise, opinions, fear, distractions, chaos. But in that chaos, heaven has positioned you as a frequency of peace. Your presence is medicine. Your message is restoration. Your voice is a reminder that love still speaks louder than fear. That's why your season of hiding is ending. Heaven is saying, speak now. Shine now. Don't hold back. Because there are souls waiting for your frequency. There are people who won't wake up until they hear your sound. There are destinies connected to your obedience. You don't need a perfect stage, just a willing heart. Because heaven amplifies those who speak from authenticity. And the moment you start speaking, creation begins to rearrange itself to match your message. You are heaven's voice, and this world is your mission field. Chosen one, now that you've made it this far, take a breath. Not just any breath, a sacred one. Because what you carry inside you isn't ordinary oxygen, it's divine expression. Every word you speak carries the vibration of heaven's frequency. You've spent so long silencing yourself, shrinking to make others comfortable, holding back what you know you were meant to release. But those days are over. This is your season to open your mouth, not to argue, not to prove, not to impress, but to declare. When you speak from alignment, heaven listens. When you decree what's been whispered to you in secret, the atmosphere shifts. When you prophesy your future, heaven rearranges the details to match your faith. You are not just another voice lost in the noise of the world. You are heaven's echo. You are the sound of divine order returning to the earth. You are what light sounds like when it chooses human form. So speak healing over your life. Speak abundance into your atmosphere. Speak peace into every storm that tried to silence you. Speak strength into your destiny, even when your voice trembles. Because the truth is, chosen one, the moment you speak from your soul, heaven begins to move. Angels respond. Energy realigns. The unseen shifts in your favor. The world has heard enough noise. What it needs now is your frequency. That sound of conviction that says, I am chosen. I am guided. I am covered. I am walking in divine assignment. Don't hold back anymore. Don't let fear keep you quiet when you were designed to command mountains. You are not here to whisper your purpose. You are here to proclaim it. And as you speak, know this, you are not alone. Heaven is backing every word that comes from your anointed voice. God Himself is amplifying your message through unseen realms, touching hearts you'll never meet, shifting destinies you'll never see. So say it with me, out loud, right where you are. I am heaven's voice in human form. My words carry power. My sound creates change. I speak, and heaven listens. Now walk in that truth. You are the vibration of divine purpose. You are the message that earth was waiting for. So rise up, chosen one, and speak. Heaven is listening. If this message stirred something in your soul, don't scroll away. Comment, I am heaven's voice, below to claim it. Like, share, and subscribe, not just to support this channel, but to echo this message across the planet. Because every time a chosen one awakens, the world becomes a little more like heaven.